I'm too important for this crap. My time is worth more than this entire courtroom.
And yet here you are, paying for every second of it.
He walked into the courtroom wearing a $5,000 suit and carrying a briefcase that cost more than most people's monthly rent. When Judge Caprio asked him about the expired inspection sticker on his Bentley, he laughed and said, "I'm a doctor. I save lives. I don't have time for bureaucratic nonsense like vehicle inspections." But what this cardiac surgeon didn't know was that his contempt for minor regulations would expose a pattern of medical negligence that had put dozens of patients at risk. And when the judge discovered what he'd really been doing, that superior smile would disappear forever. Before we show you exactly what happened when medical arrogance met judicial wisdom, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. If you love Judge Caprio's fair and compassionate approach to justice, please support this new channel by hitting that subscribe button and giving us a like. We're Judge Caprio Speaks, and we share these powerful courtroom moments because sometimes the law needs a voice of reason. Every subscription helps us bring you more incredible stories of justice served with wisdom and humanity. Providence Municipal Court. Monday morning, June 3rd, 9:45 a.m. The early summer sun streamed through tall courtroom windows, casting geometric shadows across polished wooden floors. The morning docket had been proceeding normally until the heavy doors swung open, and Dr. Richard Thornton Hayes III entered with the unmistakable bearing of a man who had never been told no. He was 58 years old, tall, distinguished in that way expensive grooming and better genetics create. Silver hair swept back from a tanned face. Tom Ford suit, navy blue, perfectly tailored. Rolex Daytona on his wrist, the kind that costs $40,000 and has a 2-year waiting list. Italian leather briefcase, probably Berluti. Even his shoes whispered wealth. Church's Oxfords polished to a mirror shine. But it wasn't just his appearance that commanded attention. It was his demeanor. He walked with the absolute confidence of someone accustomed to being the most important person in every room. Surgeons often develop this quality. Years of holding human hearts in their hands, making life and death decisions in seconds, being treated like gods by grateful patients and deferential nurses. It creates a certain presence. Behind him, noticeably less confident, was his attorney. Marcus Webb, 45, from one of Providence's most prestigious law firms. Marcus carried a thick folder and wore the expression of someone who knew this was going to be more complicated than a simple traffic citation. The bailiff called the case. Hayes, Dr. Richard T. Citation number 2025 16743. Expired vehicle inspection, Route 95, May 18th. Dr. Hayes approached the podium with the unhurried stride of someone who believed the court should be grateful for his time. He set his briefcase down with a deliberate thud. Judge Frank Caprio looked up from his paperwork, and anyone who knew the judge recognized the slight narrowing of his eyes. That look that meant he'd already assessed the defendant and was prepared for attitude. "Good morning, Dr. Hayes. Please state your full name for the record." "Dr. Richard Thornton Hayes III, Chief of Cardiac Surgery at Providence Memorial Hospital." The emphasis on his title was unmistakable. Not just Dr. Hayes, Chief of Cardiac Surgery. "Thank you, Doctor. You're here regarding an expired vehicle inspection citation. The report indicates that on May 18th, you were stopped on Route 95 for a routine check, and the officer discovered your vehicle inspection had expired 4 months earlier. Is this accurate?" Dr. Hayes waved his hand dismissively. "Technically, yes, but Your Honor, I think we need to consider context here. I perform an average of 12 surgeries per week. Heart surgeries, life-saving procedures. My time is extraordinarily valuable. The idea that I should be penalized for forgetting something as trivial as a vehicle inspection is frankly absurd. The gallery stirred. An elderly man in the back shifted uncomfortably. A woman whispered to her companion. Judge Caprio's expression remained neutral, but something in his tone shifted slightly. Dr. Hayes, vehicle inspections aren't trivial. They ensure your vehicle is safe for you and for other drivers on the road. The inspection checks brakes, lights, emissions, structural integrity. These things matter. I drive a Bentley Continental GT, Your Honor, a $300,000 vehicle. I assure you it's maintained to the highest standards. I have it serviced by the dealership regularly. This inspection requirement is just bureaucratic red tape designed to generate revenue for the state. His attorney, Marcus, touched his arm gently. Richard, perhaps we should... It's Dr. Hayes. The correction was sharp, automatic, even to his own attorney. Judge Caprio leaned back slightly. Dr. Hayes, how long has your inspection been expired? 4 months, apparently, though I question the accuracy of that. My assistant handles these things. Your assistant handles vehicle maintenance? My assistant handles administrative tasks, scheduling, renewals, registrations, that sort of thing. Obviously, she missed this one. So you're saying the responsibility lies with your assistant? I'm saying the responsibility lies with a broken system that creates unnecessary hurdles for productive members of society. People like me who actually contribute value shouldn't be burdened with this nonsense. The courtroom had gone very quiet. The kind of silence that happens when someone says something so tone-deaf that people need a moment to process it. Judge Caprio picked up the citation and read it carefully. Dr. Hayes, this citation indicates that the officer also noted several other issues during the stop: severely worn front tires, a cracked windshield, and a non-functioning left brake light. Were you aware of these issues? Dr. Hayes shrugged. The car drives fine. A cracked windshield doesn't affect functionality. The tires have plenty of tread, and brake lights burn out. It's not a crisis. A non-functioning brake light means drivers behind you can't see when you're stopping. That's a safety hazard. In theory, perhaps. In practice, I've driven that car for 6 months without incident. Judge Caprio set down the citation. 6 months? Your brake light has been out for 6 months? I don't personally inspect my brake lights, Your Honor. As I mentioned, I have more important concerns. More important than the safety of other drivers? With all respect, yes. My surgeries save lives. I performed a quadruple bypass last week on a 42-year-old father of 3. That man is alive because of me. That matters more than a brake light. The judge's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath now. Dr. Hayes, I don't doubt your surgical skill, but your ability to save lives in the operating room doesn't exempt you from basic responsibilities as a citizen and a driver. I disagree, Your Honor. Society needs to recognize that people operating at my level can't be held to the same standards as everyone else. We contribute more. We should be accommodated accordingly. Marcus Webb had his head in his hands. This was clearly not going according to plan. Judge Caprio studied Dr. Hayes for a long moment. Then he picked up his phone. Bailiff Rodriguez, please pull Dr. Hayes's complete driving record. I want everything from the past 5 years. Dr. Hayes's confident expression flickered slightly. That's unnecessary, Your Honor. This is my first citation. Is it? Silence. Dr. Hayes, is this your first citation? It's my first citation for an expired inspection. What other citations have you received? Marcus spoke up quickly. Your Honor, I don't see how past citations are relevant to this specific case. I'll determine relevance, counselor. Dr. Hayes, please answer the question. Dr. Hayes shifted his weight, the first sign of discomfort. I may have received a few speeding tickets over the years. How many? I don't keep count. Well, let's count together. Bailiff Rodriguez returned with printed records. Judge Caprio began reading, and his expression grew darker with each line. In the past 5 years, you've received 11 speeding citations. 11. 4 were for speeds exceeding 20 miles over the limit. 2 were in school zones. 1 was in a residential area at 55 miles per hour in a 25 zone. The gallery erupted in whispers. Someone gasped. Dr. Hayes's face flushed. I have emergencies, Your Honor. When I'm called for surgery, time matters. Were you responding to emergencies during all 11 stops? Silence. Dr. Hayes, were these emergencies? Some of them. Maybe. I drive quickly in general. I'm a confident driver. You're a reckless driver. There's a difference. Judge Caprio continued reading. You've also received 4 parking citations, all in handicapped spaces. 3 were at shopping centers. 1 was at a restaurant. Do you have a handicapped parking permit? No, but I was only parked for a few minutes each time. The handicapped spaces aren't for quick stops, Doctor. They're for people with mobility disabilities who need that access. And I respect that. But when I'm in a hurry and the lot is full, I make practical decisions. You make illegal decisions. Dr. Hayes's tone became defensive. Your Honor, I sense this is becoming personal. I came here to address a vehicle inspection. I don't appreciate being attacked for my entire driving history. I'm not attacking you, Doctor. I'm trying to understand a pattern. You seem to believe that rules don't apply to you. Rules should be flexible for people whose time has significant value. Judge Caprio leaned forward. Dr. Hayes, I'm curious about something. You mentioned you perform 12 surgeries per week. That's remarkable. Tell me, when you're in the operating room, do you follow protocols? Sterilization procedures, surgical checklists, safety measures? Of course. Those protocols exist for patient safety. And if a nurse suggested skipping hand washing because she was in a hurry, would that be acceptable? Absolutely not. That would be negligent. But parking in handicapped spaces when you're in a hurry, that's different? That's not comparable. Isn't it? Both are rules designed to protect vulnerable people. Both require small personal inconveniences for the greater good. Why do medical protocols matter but traffic laws don't? Dr. Hayes had no answer. His attorney looked like he wanted to disappear. Judge Caprio opened another file. Dr. Hayes, there's something else here. A complaint filed with the Rhode Island Board of Medical Licensure. Are you familiar with this? Dr. Hayes's face went pale. That complaint is baseless. It's been dismissed. It hasn't been dismissed. It's under investigation. Would you like to tell me what it's about? Or should I read it? Marcus stood abruptly. Your Honor, I object. Medical board complaints are confidential and completely irrelevant to a traffic citation. Sit down, counselor. Dr. Hayes brought his medical expertise into this courtroom. He's argued repeatedly that his work as a surgeon should exempt him from following laws. That makes his conduct as a physician relevant. The judge began reading from the complaint. This was filed by Patricia Chen, age 67. She states that in February, you performed cardiac catheterization on her husband, Thomas Chen. The procedure was scheduled for 2 p.m., according to Mrs. Chen's complaint. You arrived at 4:30 p.m., over 2 hours late, and she could smell alcohol on your breath. The courtroom went absolutely silent. Dr. Hayes's face had gone from pale to red. That's a lie. I had used mouthwash. The alcohol smell was from mouthwash. At 4:30 in the afternoon. How much mouthwash were you using? I don't remember the specific circumstances, but I certainly wasn't drunk. That's slander. Judge Caprio continued. Mrs. Chen states that during the procedure, you made errors. You perforated an artery, causing internal bleeding. Her husband spent 4 days in intensive care and required emergency surgery to repair the damage. Complications happen. Surgery has inherent risks. Mrs. Chen's complaint includes testimony from a nurse who was present. The nurse states you were shaking, dropped instruments twice, and cursed repeatedly when things went wrong. She states she filed an internal complaint, but was told to keep quiet. Dr. Hayes was shaking now. This is outrageous. You're turning a parking ticket into a witch hunt. You turned it into this, doctor. You came into my courtroom claiming your importance as a surgeon exempts you from basic laws. But your conduct suggests you don't take any rules seriously. Not traffic laws. Not safety regulations. Not even the fundamental responsibility to show up sober when holding a human heart in your hands. The gallery was riveted. No one moved. Dr. Hayes tried to respond, but couldn't find words. Judge Caprio picked up his phone again. Bailiff, please contact the Rhode Island Board of Medical Licensure. Inform them that Dr. Hayes has been cited for multiple traffic violations, suggesting pattern of reckless disregard for safety. Request they expedite their investigation. He turned back to Dr. Hayes. Here's what's going to happen. Your expired inspection fine is $200. Your expired brake light is an additional $75. But I'm also charging you $5,000 for contempt of court, for your repeated disrespect and your dangerous attitude toward public safety. Dr. Hayes found his voice. $5,000? And your license is suspended for 6 months. My driver's license? Yes. Your pattern of violations, your attitude, and your clear disregard for others' safety makes you a danger on the roads. For 6 months, you'll find other transportation. Perhaps it will give you time to reflect on why rules exist. I need my car for work. No, doctor. You need your car for convenience. You can take public transportation like millions of other people. You can hire a driver. You can ask your assistant who handles your administrative tasks. You'll figure it out. Judge Caprio's voice softened slightly but remained firm. Dr. Hayes, you save lives. I respect that. But you're also a citizen, and citizens have responsibilities. You can't park in handicapped spaces because you're in a hurry. You can't speed through school zones because you're important. You can't show up to surgery impaired because you think rules don't apply to you. I wasn't impaired. The investigation will determine that. But your attitude here today tells me everything I need to know about your judgment. You believe you're special. You believe your contributions entitle you to different standards. They don't. The judge leaned forward. I've been on this bench for 37 years. I've seen thousands of people. Rich, poor, doctors, criminals, everyone. And I've learned one thing. Character isn't about what you do when everyone's watching. It's about what you do when you think no one is looking. When you park in that handicapped space. When you speed through that neighborhood. When you show up late and unprepared to surgery. Those are exaggerations. Are they? Or are they patterns? Because from where I sit, I see someone who spent years believing rules are for other people. And that attitude doesn't just affect parking. It affects everything, including patient care. Dr. Hayes was breathing hard now, his expensive suit somehow looking less impressive. Your Honor, please. 6 months without driving will destroy my practice. Then perhaps you should have thought about that before accumulating 15 traffic violations in 5 years. before showing contempt for every safety regulation meant to protect people, before walking into my courtroom acting like you're above the law. Judge Caprio picked up his gavel. Fines total $5,275. License suspended for 6 months, effective immediately. You will surrender your license to the bailiff before leaving. You will complete a driver safety course and pass both written and practical exams before reinstatement. And Dr. Hayes, if I ever see you in this courtroom again for any violation, the consequences will be far more severe. The gavel fell with a sharp crack that seemed to echo forever. Dr. Hayes stood frozen, unable to move. His attorney gathered files with shaking hands. The gallery remained silent, processing what they'd witnessed. As Dr. Hayes turned to leave, Judge Caprio spoke once more. Doctor, I hope you'll use these 6 months to remember why you became a physician. Not for prestige or special treatment. To help people. To serve. That's what medicine is about. Service. Not superiority. Dr. Hayes left without responding. His expensive shoes clicked against marble floors. The sound somehow hollow now. 3 weeks later, Providence Memorial Hospital placed Dr. Hayes on administrative leave pending the medical board investigation. The investigation revealed he had shown up late or impaired to 7 surgeries in the past year. Nurses had complained repeatedly, but Hayes's reputation and revenue generation had protected him. The board suspended his medical license for 1 year and required completion of substance abuse treatment and ethics training. His privileges at the hospital were revoked. 3 patients filed malpractice suits based on complications from his surgeries. Dr. Richard Thornton Hayes III, who had walked into court believing he was untouchable, lost everything that had defined him: his license, his position, his reputation. All because he'd believed rules were for other people. 1 year later, after completing treatment and training, Hayes applied for license reinstatement. He appeared before the medical board humble, sober, and genuinely changed. He acknowledged his arrogance, his substance issues, his neglect of patient safety. The board granted conditional reinstatement with strict monitoring. Hayes never returned to cardiac surgery. Instead, he took a position at a community clinic, treating uninsured patients for modest wages. No prestige, no expensive suits, just medicine, service, the work he'd once loved before arrogance had corrupted it. Judge Frank Caprio kept the citation in his desk, a reminder that sometimes expired inspections reveal expired values, that titles and achievements don't excuse basic decency, that no one, regardless of profession or importance, is above the laws designed to protect us all. If you love Judge Caprio's wisdom and fair approach to justice, please support Judge Caprio Speaks by subscribing and hitting that like button. Your support helps us share these powerful stories of accountability and redemption. What do you think? Should professionals who claim their work is too important for rules face stricter penalties? Should pattern of violations trigger automatic license suspension? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if this story resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to remember that character matters more than credentials. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting.